What is up? Welcome to Etsy Jam episode 86. Join us for part 2 of our 2-part jam with Dave from WoodlandZen. Dave talks about how making a huge change in his mindset made selling online much easier. He shares some tips for staying positive, and as a bonus, some tips he's learned about promoted listings on Etsy as well. Stay tuned. What is up? Welcome to Etsy Jam, the show where we have fun conversations about serious topics. I am Gordon from Marmalead.
And I am Richie from Marmalead. And if you don't yet know about Marmalead, but you have an Etsy shop that you are serious about success, then you want to check out Marmalead, because Marmalead takes the guesswork out of getting found on Etsy with real shopper keywords. Now you can learn more about Marmalead at marmalead.com, which is marmalead.com.
This is part 2 of a 2-part series with Dave from WoodlandZen. Thank you so much for joining us, Dave.
Yeah, and thanks for having me. What's up, guys?
Absolutely. So if you guys haven't heard part 1 yet, you should head over and check that out. It's on YouTube, it's on our blog, it's on iTunes, it's on Stitcher, it's on wherever you listen to your podcasts. And in part 1, Dave covered a bunch of really cool stuff. He talked about rebranding his entire business after kind of changing direction with his products a little bit. Talked about a massive RV trip around the entire country with his girlfriend to music festivals and farmers markets and all kinds of cool stuff. He talked about how he found success on Etsy. He talked about how he engaged with his customers on Instagram. And then we kind of ended part 1 talking a little bit about some of the struggles that Dave had, which by any stretch are not unique to him. He's not the only guy having an issue with these things. So he was saying that some of the tough things about selling on Etsy is that it's easy to get a little caught up in, focusing on the numbers, focusing on more sales. I need to get more sales. I need to get more dollars in the door. And that can kind of make you anxious, as many people are very aware, I'm sure. And so he talked about, how he was able to change his mindset about these things. And once he changed his mindset away from the focus on these numbers, away from this idea that like Etsy is sometimes out to get you, that things really changed for him. And so he's got a couple tips here. He's 3 of them actually, where he's going to share with us these things that he did to maintain that positive mindset, to shift his thinking away from focusing on the stuff that makes him anxious and dwelling on things that make him feel like Etsy's out to get him, and kind of putting you in a negative space. So take it away, man. What's your first tip that you got for everybody?
Hey, cool. So just like any other Etsy seller, I used to get really negative. I used to blame Etsy. I used to participate in what I call Etsy conspiracies and Etsy rumors. I would even get mad at customers or something, stuff like that. Just more negative than positive. And I came to a point where I realized that this negative mindset is actually affecting myself, my business, and my girlfriend. So I made a conscious effort to flip that attitude and move forward, So the first one, and I talk about this in one of my videos on YouTube, is staying positive. That's, super broad and super obvious, and I'm sure you could predict that I was going to say that, but staying positive is one of the best things you can do with it. In terms of staying positive, identify thoughts. Being able to identify thoughts that are no longer going to serve you. If you have a thought that you think about it and you go, okay, I wonder if, these multimillionaire CEOs and these business owners, these super successful people, I wonder if they have these same types of thoughts every single day. And, the answer is no, they don't think like that. They don't think about what is hurting them. They only think about what's helping them, and they can identify these thoughts and weed them out of your mind, So staying positive in terms of identifying thoughts that no longer serve you and stop giving in to them. Each negative thought is like a slippery slope. Once you subscribe to it, once you jump into it, it's like a slip and slide. You slide down it, and then there's plenty of other routes you can take it. There's other negative thoughts you can think. And then, everyone knows just being a negative person in general is just not good for your life, right? So it's really easy too to get negative, because like I said in the first part of the Etsy Jam, your Etsy shop is more connected to yourself personally and your ego compared to like a drop shipping business or an Amazon FBA business, stuff like that, is because it's you personally. The best thing you can do is remove your ego from your shop and just ask yourself, what would a successful person think right now that would help them move forward? So that's the first tip. Second tip is always learn more, continue to learn more. If you're sitting stagnant and just going into like forums and stuff like that, just participating in Etsy rumors and negative Etsy thoughts, then each minute you spend, you're wasting and you're taking your shop downhill instead of uphill, you know? So always be learning more. I mentioned this in the first jam. If you want to make a full-time income on Etsy, you have to act like it's a full-time income on Etsy. Some people go to college and spend thousands of dollars in order to make a full-time income. But with Etsy, you're able to do that with little or no investment. So if you are serious about it, I suggest getting some coaching from me or from someone else, from anybody, you know, that will help you move forward. Buy some ebooks, do anything that will move you forward, because a little investment in terms of an ebook or coaching is nothing compared to what other people spend attempting to make a full-time income. So always learn more, continue learning more. Continue watching Etsy jams, reading the blogs, or whatever your favorite source of information is. Don't stop, because like another comparison that I just made is multi-million-dollar companies. Most of them have research and development sectors, you know, and they spend tons of money on learning more and advancing their company. So the best thing you can do is create a little research and development team inside of your head and just always learn more and don't stop learning more. The third tip is a tough pill to swallow. It's understand that you do not own Etsy.com. It is their website. It is their platform. They're going to do whatever they want with it. They're going to change the algorithm. They're going to up the fees. They're going to do a lot of different things. And the best thing you can do if you want to become successful on Etsy is to accept that, move forward, and continue selling on Etsy if that is your desire. And that was like a big thing. You know, same thing with like an Instagram algorithm change or Facebook algorithm change, all these things. It's like I had to realize that I don't own these websites. I just have a profile. I just have a shop on these websites. And I don't own the website. So like you think it's yours, it's your profile, sure, it's your shop, sure. But in the end, it's their website and they're going to do whatever they want. So if you want to move forward, learn more and play the game, you know. Most of the changes, most of the algorithm changes on any platform is to make it better. Sure, the change in that short little amount of time is going to ruffle your feathers, but it's actually to make the platform better. And it's actually a good thing, which is, like I said, a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. That's a good thing to remember too. You got to keep in mind too, as an Etsy seller, your customers are Etsy's customers. You know, you guys have a very symbiotic relationship with one another, and they need you guys to survive, and you need them if you're selling on Etsy in order to survive. Obviously, you can sell on other channels too, but if you're selling on Etsy, you need Etsy, and they bring a huge audience to the table too as far as shoppers. But that's awesome. I know you've got some bonus tips for us too to talk about some other things.
What were you going to say, Richie?
I was going to say, Etsy in that relationship, right? They have this vested interest in that relationship where they are looking at millions of shoppers and their behavior and stuff. So you're benefiting from the research they're doing in how they're designing these tools. And if you're on a different platform and you just fire up your own website, you don't have that. You don't have the benefit of someone actually analyzing behavior of shoppers and how they work on the website and all the different tools they have to really bring people back. And one of the cool things is if you had your own website, then somebody comes to it that one time and they have to remember to come back to it. If someone comes to Etsy and they see your stuff and they don't buy it, but they come back to Etsy for some other reason, they still have the opportunity to see your stuff that they saw before and may have forgotten about. Maybe they favorited it. Maybe they favored your shop, you know, whatever it is, or in the recently viewed, right? So if it was one of the last times they were on Etsy, it's still going to be down there. They might go back to it for a different reason and be like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot. I was going to buy that thing, or I wanted to go back to it and I forgot, but now they're back and they see it. Now they have the opportunity to.
Exactly. Yeah. The alternative to that exact situation with a standalone website is installing a Google Pixel onto your website and then having to pay for retargeting ads. You know, like the ads that if somebody's watching this and they don't know what that is, like when you see an ad on the side of the side of your browser somewhere for a website that you were at recently, you know, that person is paying for that ad. And on Etsy, it's free. It's just part of the platform. So that's another powerful thing to keep in mind is that Etsy has a massive audience coming every single day. And you don't have to pay for ads. You don't have to develop customer data. Like if you were a standalone website and you were paying for Facebook ads and you had a Facebook pixel on your website that was storing customer information, that's a whole huge process that you can cut out by selling on Etsy if you're not super tech savvy or you don't want to even get into that and you just want to focus on your craft.
So one of the things you mentioned too in your first tip was identifying your thoughts. Was that something that came naturally to you? I mean, it's easy to have thoughts and just let them kind of happen and not even realize you're having those. Was that something you had to kind of like train yourself to catch yourself being negative on things, or like how did that work for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I mentioned before, it was a slippery slope. Sometimes you don't realize you're on that slope until you realize you're on a forum making a nasty post about some kind of Etsy conspiracy that you have, So yeah, what I did to recognize those thoughts was take a step back and say, okay, this thought is actually causing me to suffer in one way or in another. My shop, my emotions, which is a huge factor. You got to have a happy mind in order to have a happy shop, So yeah, so like it got to a point where it was like, okay, this isn't working. I'm not going to be negative anymore. I'm going to do my best to move forward in a positive way.
That's awesome. Those are 3 really solid tips then. I think people will enjoy those and take them, hopefully, and run with them.
I really like your take on thoughts. I don't think thoughts get enough attention, because like when you think about something for a long time, right, like you become physically tired, and that means your thoughts are taking energy. And when thoughts just kind of come and go quickly, I don't think we realize the toll it's taking, as you're pointing out, right? Like a thought is going to have an impact whether or not you recognize it right there or not. And negative thoughts, like you said, are only going to hurt you, and positive thoughts can help you. But if you're wasting your time thinking about things that aren't helping, then it is hurting. And I think that's, the way to tell, like, is this a positive or negative thought? Well, is it helping me?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like many people have heard this analogy, but your mind is like a garden, like when you're a gardener, you're weeding out the weeds that you don't want to grow so the good plants can grow. And your mind is just like a garden, so if you don't tend to it, it's going to grow weeds and it's going to inhibit what you do want to grow. So like another analogy I like to mention is like, don't let your mind go on autopilot, you need to manually drive it in the right direction.
Yeah. That's a great point too. I like the garden analogy because in the garden, like you're not like, well, a couple weeds here and there are good for it or something like that. No. And they spread like crazy. For some reason, it's so easy to grow weeds, and everything else you're trying to grow in the garden is a struggle. And I think it fits with the whole mindset thing. Because like we talked about earlier on the forums and stuff, it's like a game of negative telephone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it spread so much quicker than the positive one. So it's like the moment a negative thought creeps in, just like a weed in the garden, like you need to snuff it out, because next thing you know, you're going to have a hard time finding your tomato plants.
Yeah, exactly. You need to figure out how to mulch your garden so they don't even show up. It's exactly like that. It's easier. Negative thoughts are actually extremely easy to focus on, because I don't know why. Maybe it's the society we grew up in or the way you grew up or something like that. But negative thoughts are super easy to just run with and go hard with, Positive thoughts, it's a different story. I didn't grow up. Nobody taught me how to be positive. Mental health is not really a big topic growing up or in society, period, So we're all mad and our gardens are really full of weeds.
So true. Yeah, no one really teaches you that kind of thing. There's a lot of stuff people don't teach that very well, right? They say schools don't really teach anybody about finance, right? They say most people don't know how to balance a checkbook, stuff like that. Certainly, I don't remember any classes about being positive.
Absolutely.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think they covered that at all.
Yeah. And so I'll use this topic to connect to the next one. If you're not staying positive and you're getting really negative and you're thinking that Etsy only wants to suck away your money and take all your money, then there's no way that you're ever going to give promoted listings a chance.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way that not giving Etsy any more of my money, right? Which is a bad relationship to have with essentially a business partner. Etsy.com is essentially your business partner. And if you have bad views about your business partner and you don't trust them, you can't advance your business, right? So if you're in a negative mindset, it's going to be really hard to trust them with the email retargeting, with the favorite retargeting, and with promoted listings, right? So once I got positive, I gave promoted listings a try, and over the past many months, I actually got really good at promoted listings. And it's really amazing what promoted listings can do. They're not the same, in my opinion, as the regular listings. The promoted listings have their own algorithm too, not a separate one, but there is some factors playing into promoted listings. But like I said, if you're negative, you're never going to give it a chance. For example, like with promoted listings, if you do end up paying for them, and this is a tactic I talk about in my promoted listings ebook, when you pay for promoted listings, you are getting a ton of data about your shop. Like you go into it and it says X amount of searched terms, right? And there's terms that show up. It shows you exactly why your listing showed up and for what tags. The normal stats in your shop don't do that. But if you pay for the promoted listings, it'll tell you because they want you to optimize those listings. So if you optimize those listings based around those tags, then you're definitely going to see a lot more traction. You're going to see a lot more results. And there's so many different factors in terms of promoted listings that not a lot of people know about, like the auto versus manual setting. Like auto, it even says this right on the website on Etsy when you click on how bidding works in the promoted listings dashboard. You click on it and it says auto bid actually is based off of listing history. It says that on the Etsy website. So what does that translate to? Listing history translates to amount of sales, maybe amount of organic favorites, amount of reviews and stuff like that. So auto bid would be a really good choice for listings that have a ton of sales, that are really popular already. And then manual bid would be the ones that you want to like grab promoted listings by the horns and say, hey, here's my money, but none of it is going to become possible if you are having a negative mindset. I really used to think like, oh, promoted listings, when I first tried them, I would look at my dashboard and I'd be like, dang it, there's more money down the drain, because all I did was turn it on and then expect the best, So when I did turn to a positive outlook, I was able to look at these other tools that Etsy provides me with and open a whole nother, realm of possibilities. So it's not just about like the actual like positivity aspect. Like when you get positive, you open more doors in terms of your happiness, but you also make more possibilities come true in terms of the tools Etsy can give you. You're going to be much more reluctant to give those tools a chance if you're an Etsy conspiracist.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think Etsy's out to get you, there's no way you're going to be spending more money with Etsy,
Exactly. So
you'll find a way for it to not work if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you're looking for a way to make the tool worthwhile, that's what you're going to find. If you're looking for why it's not going to work, well, that's easy too, because you just use it wrong and then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. You can mess up any tool that way. Mm-hmm. Use a paintbrush as a hammer. Guess what? It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Or a hammer as a paintbrush. That probably wouldn't work too well either.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a really good point. Yeah, those are two things you don't want to mess up.
A lot of analogies in this jam.
We're all about SEO and analogies.
Well, awesome, Dave. Thanks so much. Those are awesome tips, and I liked the peek into a little bit of info about promoted listings too. If people want to learn more about you, your shop is WoodlandZen on Etsy, so they can find you there. But where else can they find you? Where are you on YouTube, Instagram? Where can they find your ebook on promoted listings if they want to find that?
So you can find me on YouTube. My name on YouTube is Add to Cart, one word. So you can type that into the top. It might show it to you. It might not. I'm not sure. I haven't actually searched for myself. I'll give you guys a link to put in the description. And then also, if you want to check out my ebook, that's in the description of all my YouTube videos. And I can also give you a link straight to the site where I sell my digital products like coaching, critiques, and a few different ebooks. I have an ebook on promoted listings, everything you need to know to get started, to make them successful, to optimize them, and all of the little pro secrets, I like to call them, that I learned throughout my selling that helped me tweak them and boost them even harder. So through my YouTube, I'll give you guys the link, and then through my other website, I'll give you guys the link.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been a sincere pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun. Absolutely.
We'll have to have you back again sometime.
Sweet.
One of the few men that we've talked to on Etsy Jam.
Yeah. There's not. I haven't talked to many men in the Etsy realm, but they're out there.
Yes. Well, all right. Thanks for joining us, and we will catch you guys next time on Etsy Jam.